Hey, welcome to another Tuesday night, October 1st, by the way. Wow, we're almost at the end of 2024. We're here. My name is Joey Ragona. You are who you are. Thank you for being here for another heart-centered marketing show. And we're going to talk a lot about fear and self-doubt today because it seems to be running rampant all over the place of, just having that fear. Oops, I got another message here. Continue. Okay, got an error message. Anyway, not that you see it on the other end, but thank you for being here. By the way, let me know with a hashtag live or hashtag replay. I was hoping it was going to go into the Facebook group. It doesn't look like it's working, but that's okay. We're here anyway. I want to talk a little bit about fear and self-doubt and how to get over it. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any ideas or maybe some of the ways that you've run into this, and maybe I can help you out. Maybe I can answer some questions if I can see them, because only if you're watching elsewhere from outside my Facebook group, because it looks like it's not streaming there. So I made some notes here, went through some of the stuff that I have inside of all of the notes I've been taking for years and years and years, but also from my own experience in dealing with self-doubt and fear. And one of the things that I still have a little bit of trouble with is really identifying what fear feels like for someone who is not in business, who hasn't been in business before. Maybe it's their first time in business, because all I can remember is being in business, right? It's not that I'm better than anybody. It's just that when I look at fear, it was more about identifying which fear I wanted to deal with, because there's always the fear of the unknown, fear of, is this going to work? Am I going to fail at this? All that stuff. Or is it the fear of staying where I am? And so I think, to start off this conversation, what's really important is to understand what is the true purpose or desire that you're looking to do. Like, what is that? If you can identify with a true desire and a mission, and I'm going to talk a little all about business, because that's what this is about, right? Marketing and business and how to move forward in the business. So, do you have a desire or do you understand the purpose of what your business is all about? And when you can tap into that desire, then fear becomes a little bit easier to deal with. There are many times where the desire, when I'm coaching anybody, I try to pull out the desire of what it is they're trying to do, the mission, the purpose of their business. And for the ones who never really go through, and this is many years ago, and it's that they could never identify what the purpose of the business was. It was generally about making money, and that is not a driver, right? Making money is not a driver, because as soon as the money drops, even if you were making a lot of money in your business, and all of a sudden the market changed or something, and the business stops making money, I've seen so many people pivot out of what they're doing. And I'm not saying stick through it, because if they're not making any money, but you get my point, right? The point is that it's not about money, because you need to have a purpose in what you're doing. So let me talk about the strategies of overcoming fear. So one of them is that you acknowledge and you accept it, because if you understand, in the entrepreneurial world, Susan Jeffers has a great book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Great book. Highly recommend that you read that one. But it's part of the entrepreneurial journey that fear is going to be there. And it's to really reframe the process, or reframe how you look at business challenges. Because I look at opportunities or fear as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat. So when I look at fear, or fear shows up, I'm asking myself, okay, what does that mean? What is it? What am I talking about? And let me see, maybe it is working. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to go over here, and it looks like it is working um on my group. So maybe I can see any comments coming in on the group. That's really great. So let me know if you are here live with a hashtag live or hashtag replay. And if you have any comments or questions or anything like that about this, I'd love to see them. and hopefully I can see them everywhere. So, getting back to this, strategies to overcome fear. So, reframe the perspective of what it is. Is the fear truly going to stop you? Is it part of keeping you back, or is it an opportunity to, one, acknowledge you're alive? This is one of the biggest things that I used to talk about when I first started my coaching career over 10 years ago. I would always talk about the fact that fear just alone indicates, one, you're alive, that it's good, you have a feeling, and that it's something that is allowing you to grow. It's not something to hold you back. So when you're looking at something to get out of your comfort zone or to move forward, that fear is actually a good thing. It's an opportunity for growth rather than a threat to your business, to you yourself. And if you look at anything that is intimidating and um you may be looking at the bigger picture, the whole big thing. And believe me, I've been there a million times, still get into it when it comes to anything having to do with, in bookkeeping and all that stuff. And I look at the big picture. And when I break things down into smaller, manageable chunks, then I build my confidence. And it's crazy how that works. And you probably heard this before, but I'm telling you that if you have a fear about doing something, step back and ask yourself, are you looking at the big picture, like the whole big project? And maybe you need to chunk it down. Maybe you need to just do a small little portion of it to give you a little bit of confidence to move forward. And if you're practicing also self-compassion, okay, thank you for don't know who you are, but thank you very much. Appreciate that. Um, and so be kind to yourself. Like, I think so many of us beat ourselves up because we compare ourselves to other people, right? We look at other people doing it and we're thinking, why can't I do this? And remember that you are experiencing as an entrepreneur everything differently. Even if you were sitting among groups and masterminds, which is another big thing I highly recommend. We'll talk about that. Is just give yourself a break, because everyone goes through fear in a different way. Even though I'm telling you maybe some of the ways that hopefully you could use to get over the fear yourself, but be kind to yourself. So let me talk a little bit about self-doubt. So self-doubt is, if you understand what self-limiting beliefs you have, I would you need to understand like what those are and identify those. Don't just step away from something and think that I'm not going to move forward, but you need to identify what it is that's holding you back. And I can tell you, when it comes to anything financial, if you were watching me on the number side, those are self doubts for me. Those are self limiting beliefs. I used to, pound my brain with negative self talk about, I'm not good at math. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it would only make it worse. It would only make the fear of doing anything worse. So I am really trying. I'm not the best at it yet. I'm still working on this one, but I'm really trying not to put that into my brain, even though it's still a fear for me. If you want to call it that, it's a fear for me. But that's where these self-limiting beliefs are going to hold you back on this, on the fears. Now, the small wins are big too. This is all stuff you've heard before, but I mean, if you've heard it but not actually using it, actually putting it into action, it's not going to do anything for you. So are you actually celebrating the small wins? I'll give you an example of this. Sometimes if I'm doing something that I don't like to do, I'll keep using the example of numbers and bookkeeping or something like that. I will celebrate a small win, which might be just actually opening up the program and opening up a spreadsheet. Like, that's a small win for me, and I will celebrate that. Sounds crazy, but it's like, hey, I actually did that. Or, I was able to reconcile this bank account or something. Like, wow, I'm good at this. I'm pretty good at this. I can, reconcile the next one. And it's those small wins that move me forward into doing more of that work. So celebrate the small wins. Now it comes to the support. If you don't have a support team around you, not only your business team, but colleagues, then and trusted people, your business mentors, masterminds, coaching programs, and I'm talking about real programs and support systems that are not just teaching you stuff and you do it. I'm talking about a group, a mastermind, a true alliance. Mastermind's been thrown around for the last 5 or 6 years, if not more, as it's just been dirtied up. And a true mastermind is when you have a group of people that are like the same people, they're like family, who show up week after week and support you in every way. So this way, when you are feared, because I mean, this happens to us in academy. I see this all the time, where someone will come in and they will have self-doubt and they will have fear. And then when they are able to ask for support or even just be vulnerable about something, the fear doesn't really go away, but it's easier to handle. So look for support groups. Outside perspectives are going to give you massive, valuable insights. Okay. Then you want to focus on personal growth. And this is why I wanted to talk about this today, because I don't have the book here, it's downstairs because I'm highlighting it again. So one of the reasons books I went back to was I think it's a 17 Laws of Success. I think that's what it's called, from Napoleon Hill. And I read that in 2012 or somewhere around 2010 to 12. Anyway, I went back to the book because that was one of the main catalysts for me to switch my brain into positive thinking. PMA, that's where I learned it, was positive mental attitude. And since that day, whenever I start, whatever it was, I've been employing that into my brain, along with not being always stepping into fear. So as an entrepreneur, a natural entrepreneur, born entrepreneur, I look at fear differently. Again, I'm not suggesting I'm better or worse than anybody else. It's just that when I look at fear, I look at the fear of being in the same place that I am right now. If I want to move forward, then I'm choosing a fear, which is the unknown. I don't know about you. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if that resonates with you, or let me know with a hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching one of those two. I'd love to know from you. So here is an example of how you can combat fear. And I never thought of this before, and I can't remember where I learned this from. One of the books, probably with Susan Jeffers, which is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Journaling. And this is a different way to use journaling. Journaling is a way where if you write down your business fears and your doubts, all of that, and you challenge them with evidence of you doing it before, then your fears will go away. Like it's one of the things that I use in coaching all the time, where somebody will say, give a fear, whatever it is. And I'll ask them, have you ever done this before? And they will give me an example of that. And I'm saying, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? You've done this before. And they'll come up with ideas around today's environment, which has some merit. But at the same time, if you've jumped out of a plane before, you can probably jump out of a plane again. Yes, the winds are different. Maybe the height is different. Maybe something's different, but you can adjust. You've done it before, right? So I would suggest that if you are feeling fears, the same ones coming up over and over and over again, I would suggest that you write them down. Write them down and then look at them and say, have I ever done this before? What is the success that I've had by doing this? The other one is affirmations. I'll talk about affirmations. I'm not a huge fan of doing affirmations all the time, but I'm not against it either. So I shouldn't say fan. I just don't do them all the time. So let me repeat that. Let me rewind the tape, right? So it's not that I don't, I just don't do a lot of affirmations. I am open to doing them. They're not in part of my routine, but I want to mention them to you in case that's who you are and you like doing affirmations. That's completely cool. Repeat positive statements, your abilities as a heart-centered entrepreneur. Just keep repeating them over and over and over again. And I think that the reason I don't do a lot of it is because I don't need to motivate myself to move into fear in that way. If it was where, again, so I'm using maybe the journaling technique, but not actually writing it down, but maybe when I'm opening up and doing stuff that I don't like, then I'll try to remember, well, I've done this before. Last week you did this and you reconcile your bank account or something like that, right? You did this before. So it's going to be the same thing. Then it's meditation. So meditation is something that I've been getting into recently in the last year or so. And it's weird how it actually works. And I think that what it does is it clears your mind, at least for me. I don't know about you. Maybe you're better better at meditating than me. Maybe give me some advice on this one. But what it does is it's clearing my mind rather than um, giving me like a solution to a fear. Does that make sense? So it's calming my brain, or I guess calming my body, calming my anxiety, or whatever whatever's showing up, and allowing my brain just to rest. Because when you're in fear, you're probably in um, fight and flight, and you just want to get out of the situation. So this way, when you meditate, you can pull that back and just chill. So I'll leave you with this. One of the things that Susan Jeffers says in her book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, is this: the only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it. I know it's easy. It's easy to say it and it's hard to do, but truthfully, that's what it is. Every time I was faced with a fear, every time that I wanted to do something and somebody challenged me, or even I challenged myself, all I would do is go do it. Uh, Sometimes it didn't, many times it didn't work out, I should say. Many times it didn't work out, but it moved me a step forward. And that's all I'm hoping for you, asking for you, is to choose the fear that you want to identify with, and don't let a fear become a fire that burns down your dreams. Okay, don't let a fear be a fire that burns down your dreams. I would suggest that you use fear as a fuel to drive forward your desires. Hopefully that helps. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next week on Heart Center Marketing. Take care.